Today, we're diving into a massive strategic shift that's happening right now in China's automotive export boom. You know, it's a story that's moving away from a simple gold rush and becoming a really high-stakes game of global chess.
And the scale of this global expansion is just hard to wrap your head around. In just the first 7 months of this year, a staggering 4.18 million vehicles were exported from China. I mean, that's a number that has completely reshaped the global auto industry. But here's the twist. While that number is absolutely huge, it's hiding the real story. The crazy 50+% growth surges we saw in previous years, that's over. And that signals a crucial turning point. The easy, explosive growth phase is gone, and the rules of the game are changing completely.
Okay, so let's get into it. To really understand what's happening, we need to look at how the global strategy itself is entering a totally new phase.
You can see a really dramatic pivot happening right under the hood. While pure electric vehicle exports, they grew a respectable 24%, plug-in hybrids exploded by a massive 184%, and at the same time, gasoline car exports actually shrank. Now, this is not some random fluctuation. This is a deliberate strategic shift.
So why this huge pivot to hybrids? Well, it's because Chinese automakers are listening to the market. I mean, look at a key battleground like Europe. Consumers there are choosing standard hybrids way more than pure EVs, which hold less than half the market share. It's a really pragmatic response to what people actually want and the realities of charging infrastructure.
And all of this points to a new playbook being written in real time. First, diversify. Get away from those high-risk markets. Second, offer flexible powertrains that can match local needs. And third, and this is the big one, localization is no longer a strategic choice. It's becoming absolutely essential for survival.
And nowhere is this new reality clearer than in Russia. It's the ultimate case study, really. It shows you how a wide-open blue ocean of opportunity can turn into a fiercely competitive red ocean almost overnight.
After Western brands left the market back in 2022, Chinese automakers moved in with just breathtaking speed. I mean, they went from being a minor player with under 7% of the market to the absolute dominant force, capturing well over half of all sales. For a while there, simply having cars to sell was enough to win.
But now, the entire logic of that market has just flipped on its head. Back then, yeah, just having cars to sell was enough. Now, with a struggling economy and sky-high interest rates, the game is no longer about supply. It's about convincing a cash-strapped consumer base to actually buy. Demand is now decisive.
And this single number proves the demand crisis. Local sales in Russia are now 181% of the volume of new cars being exported there. So what does that mean? It means dealers aren't selling new cars, they're desperately trying to clear out a massive backlog of old inventory. The market is basically running on fumes.
This demand crisis is getting amplified by Russian policy, which is systematically, closing the door on imports. And this is forcing every Chinese company to face a critical, high-stakes choice about localization.
Right at the heart of this pressure is a policy called the scrap tax. Now, on paper, it's an environmental fee, but in reality, it's a powerful protectionist tool. See, the tax gets refunded to manufacturers who build cars inside Russia, which makes it a massive punishing tariff for anyone trying to import.
And this isn't a one-time shock. Russia has laid out a clear schedule of punishing yearly increases all the way through 2030 and beyond. So every single year, the cost of importing gets higher and higher, basically putting a ticking clock on the entire import-based business model. So this creates the central dilemma, right? The billion-dollar question for every Chinese brand in Russia. To build or not to build? Do you make a massive, politically risky investment to build a factory on Russian soil? Or do you just stand by and risk being slowly priced out of the market altogether?
And in response, we're seeing 3 distinct strategies emerge, and each one is a different bet on the future. You've got Great Wall going all in, committing fully with its own factory. Then there's Sherry, which is kind of hedging its bets, using local partners to reduce risk. And then you have Geely, playing it the most cautiously, supplying the market from neighboring Belarus to keep a safe political and financial distance.
So, if we zoom back out, this high-stakes game playing out in Russia really reveals the new rules for this entire age of sail, China's global automotive voyage.
You know, what this all boils down to is a fundamental shift in what it takes to win. The old model of just making a good, affordable car and shipping it out, that's just not enough anymore. The new key to success is sophisticated strategic positioning on a very, very complicated global chessboard. And that brings us to the final, critical move on the board. The challenge is no longer just about exporting products, it's about building true global brands. So as these companies navigate this new world of tariffs, politics, and consumer demands, the real question is, where will they place their next, most critical bet?